Hello everyone, welcome to another TBR mini Star Hop. Let me grab the board. I am going to be playing another round of TBR mini Star Hop with my Patreons this weekend, and this is kind of crazy because this is 2 weekends in a row. I've never done that before, but I wanted to kind of like end 2023 with a readathon and open 2024 with a readathon. I don't know, it seemed like fun to me and I'm really excited for it. I'm feeling a lot better for this one. Last weekend I was relatively ill and I'm feeling quite a bit better. Not 100%, but quite a bit. So hopefully I can stay up late. I can spend a ton of time reading, just have a lot of fun with this. I am actually more prepared for this one than I usually am. I even made the spinner wheel for if I land on a black hole and I get like a TBR prompt, right? Where I have to spin the wheel to figure out which book I'm going to read. And I don't know, I feel like I'm actually quite prepared for this one. I'm excited for all the books on my TBR. I feel like they're relatively reasonable. The only super long one is Crescent City, which would be a little rough. But other than that, I think I could get most of the books from my TBR read this weekend during this readathon, which would be amazing. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So I'm just kind of hoping it's going to be a fun round. The board can be a little bit mean to me. I'm okay with that. I just want to get a lot of books read and have a very successful weekend of readings. So let's see what we get for our first roll. Okay, here we go with the very first roll of a readathon in 2024. I'm really hoping for it to be a little bit harsh on me, but I'm still able to pick a lot of books that I want. So 6. Of course, we started off hitting the wormhole. I'm not even really mad about that, but I don't know if this is a bad omen, a bad way to start. Okay, we are starting off a tad on the mean side for the game, but I'm not really mad about it because I feel like I have the energy. I haven't read any books yet. I might have jinxed myself by making the spinner wheel with my TBR. Maybe that's what it is that decides whether I land on it or not, but it's fine. Here we go. For my monthly TBR, I would kind of rather not have Crescent City today. I would love to get it on sometime during this readathon, but I would kind of be okay with not getting it as my very first book. But I'm kind of okay with any of them. So we're just gonna see what we get. The Fine Print. Okay, that's easy. That book is sitting right here. The board chose the spinner wheel chose the fine print for me. This was a gift from my friend Sophia, and it is on my TBR for the month of January, so I am excited to read it. I think it should be fast, too, because this is a contemporary romance, and I feel like those are quick for me. I already have a bookmark in there. I haven't really started it, but I threw a bookmark in because I was planning on starting it really soon, so I am not mad about this. I'm kind of excited it picked one that I was already kind of planning on reading right away anyways, so hopefully, since this is my first book of 2024, this is a good book to start my year off well. Okay, it is actually just a little bit past 10:30 at night, which I am very surprised by. I did not think I would get done with this book that quickly, but I finished The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This book was not for me. This romance I could not get behind. I was kind of talking with my Patreons about this a little bit, and I very much feel like this is the grumpy sunshine trope on steroids. It was very obnoxiously grumpy to the point of being a full-on just a jerk, not a nice person whatsoever. And then the sunshine is so extremely obnoxious. She's just this very different, very talented, yet misunderstood, yet overlooked, yet quirky and different and not like other girls, and just constantly knows what to say to be so witty and charming, and he just can't get enough. I'm this is so strange to me. I don't see it. I don't understand. It was seriously from the very beginning, it was just completely physical, and then the other part kind of had to be developed later to make it into a romance, but I really don't think it was. I think this was a physical thing, and they like kind of made us think that the romance was a thing. That's what it felt like to me. I just couldn't get behind it. And I felt like he was just so toxic the whole time. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I would have been done after like first hot mess thing that happened. So that's just me personally. Some people don't mind these hot mess relationships, right? They like a little bit of toxicity in their relationships, and that is totally fine. Like, whatever you like in your books, 100%, go for it. Have fun. I didn't like it. And I mean, I don't necessarily mind toxicity when it's like a very powerful, magical being in a fantasy book. Somehow it works better in that than it does in real life. I feel like it's real life, and so the horrible things just seem more horrible. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. It's only 10:30. I should be coherent at this point. But anyways, I did finish it, and it was a very quick read. It was an easy read, easy to get through. But yeah, I have completed my first book for the readathon. I'm pretty proud of it too, because it's not long by any means, but it's like a decent-sized book. So we are currently at the very beginning of the board, so we are going to jump into our next roll, and fingers crossed that we don't go back to the beginning. I don't necessarily feel like I need to get another black hole at this point. I think one a game is good. Okay, here we go with roll number 2. I do not really want to get another 6. We don't need to go back to the beginning again. 5. I will take a 5. Moon prompt. That's okay. At least it's not a sun. We are good. Let's go see what we get. Okay, we pretty much got the best roll that we could have gotten, which I feel like is deserved because we got a black hole already this game. So let's go ahead, spin the wheel for a moon prompt, see what our prompt is going to be for this one. I honestly am not too fussed about which one we pick. I do have preferences, but I think I'd be okay with most of these. Okay, gotta turn up the volume so I can actually hear it. Okay, see what we get. I kind of like a free pick. I'm gonna manifest that. Okay. Over 400 pages. My manifesting was very close. Very close. Just not quite right. Okay. That's a little bit challenging, but very doable. I will go find some options. Okay, so I actually only brought 3 options, which I feel like is kind of low for me, but I don't really necessarily want to read a super long book on this readathon that I'm not kind of already planning on reading for the month of January for my TBR at this point. So my options that I have are Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a YA fantasy romance, has a witch and a witch hunter, kind of like a forbidden romance type thing, enemies to lovers maybe, I'm not quite positive. But this is a YA fantasy romance. I am buddy reading it with my niece, so this would be a good pick to get done this weekend. Plus I think it'd be like an easy one to read late at night because it would keep me like intrigued, invested. I don't know. That's an option. I also have Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This one is also on my TBR for the month of January, and I am very interested to read this one. I've barely started it, like first chapter and a half, so really nothing, honestly. But it is a little bit more complicated. It has a little bit more of the feel of an adult high fantasy, so it takes a little bit more brain power. So this one is like a maybe. I would like to put it on, but I feel like it would take a little bit of effort. And the final option that I have is Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is the second book in the Plated Prisoner series. This is also on my TBR for the month of January. It was chosen by the Wormhole Jar. And this one I think would also be an easy one to read, partially because I've already read the first one, so I'm already familiar with the world, the characters, and all that, so it wouldn't be too difficult to get into. but also because I feel like this series is not very complicated anyways. The writing style is very simple and straightforward. It's an easy read, and it would be something that I think would be easy to read like late at night when I'm tired. So those are my 3 options. And I am so bad at making decisions late at night, which is kind of a problem. And it's not even that late at this point, but it feels like it. I think I'm going to take this one off right now. This one I think will be if I have time at the end. This is my like pushing myself challenge book. I feel like this one and Glint are very close for my choices. I think both would be a good choice. I think both would be enjoyable to read late into the night. I think I'm actually going to go with Glint by Raven Kennedy. I don't know, I might regret this, but I just feel like this is one that there is a small possibility that I would be able to finish this tonight before going to bed and be able to do another roll. That'd really be pushing it, but there is the possibility of it. So I think I'm actually going to pick Glint. Okay, this is the choice. I am going with it. And I looked up the number of pages on Goodreads and it said 479. So that's what I'm going with because I have it on Kindle. So I can't. The Kindle page numbers always seem to be off. So can't count those. So yeah, that's the one I'm going to pick for my second book. I would be kind of surprised if I got it done tonight, but that's going to be my goal. I will try to, and y'all will see if I come back tonight or if it is tomorrow morning. Okay, it is now 1:30 in the morning, which is not that bad, and I have finished Glint, which I was not necessarily expecting to finish it this quickly or to even really finish it before I went to bed. I know that was my goal, but I didn't have that high of hopes, and yet I just busted through that book. I definitely enjoyed the second book more than the first book. I feel like the first book in this series was kind of weak. Honestly, I wasn't really that invested in it. And I know what it was doing. It was really setting us up, and that's fine. But this second book was definitely better, but it was also almost like nothing was happening. We seemed to make very, very little progress throughout the whole book. And I don't know. I felt like it, and I don't know, it was just written in a very slow way. I didn't really mind it. I did quite enjoy the book, but yeah, it wasn't phenomenal. I don't have an absolute love for this series that a lot of other people have, but it was still fun. It was still enjoyable. And if the wormhole like pulls it for me again, I definitely will continue on with it. I have no problem with that. I did like the character development. I thought that was good. A lot of the like reveals that were done in this book, I definitely had already guessed. I felt like a lot of the things were fairly obvious, and it wasn't surprising at all when it was revealed. But I don't know if that is a like popular opinion or not. I really guess I haven't listened to a lot of people's thoughts on any book past the first one and kind of like very broad thoughts about the rest of it because I didn't want spoilers. But it was decent. It was easy to get through. It was engaging. I had fun with it, and I have now finished the second book, and they were both pretty decently long books. I think both of them were in the mid 400s. So yeah, I think I'm doing pretty well considering it is day 1 of the readathon. So let's go ahead and do the next roll. Fingers crossed we don't hit a black hole, and we will be able to at least pick out the next book before I go to bed, depending on how long it is. If I get like a graphic novel or something super short, there's a possibility I could even do another book before bed, but we shall see what the prompt is first. Okay, so we don't want a 1 or a 6. Sorry, I'm just moving the board all around. We don't want a 1 or a 6, and this is the only place on the board where there are 2 numbers. That would be bad. Yay, lucky me. Okay, be nice to me. 4, I can do 4. Ooh, it is a sun. You know, the suns have been kind of mean to me lately, so hopefully this time it's nice. Okay, I mean, we did get past the first black hole, so I have to be happy about that. But we did also land on a sun, which in the past game, maybe a couple games. I'm not positive. I'm remembering the last game though, and it was not nice to me then. Okay, I'm looking at these options, and I am really kind of limited on what I actually want. Free pick, yes. Higher or lower, I can live with. I don't really want a TBR vet, although I could definitely go with Crescent City if it was TBR vet, because I have owned that since it was released. Friend pick, I really could not do. It is almost 2 in the morning at this point. Like, no one's awake. Greater than 500 page, I could live with that. I don't want it, but I could live with it. Higher or low, okay. I guess I could do many more of them. Okay, we're spinning. Woohoo, free pick. Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited. Okay. I can do that. I can do free pick. That is always a good one to land on. I don't know why all of a sudden I was kind of stressed that it gave me free pick. Free pick is desirable. Maybe it's just because it's so late and I am just not really functioning at this point, but I'm going to go grab some options. Okay, I am back with my options. I only brought 3 because I feel like it's definitely going to be one of these 3. First I brought is Powerless. This is one I had as an option before. I feel like it is long. It's over 500 pages, but very doable. A YA fantasy romance. I'll be able to get through this quickly, I'm sure, at least relatively quickly. I also got The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This one I am so excited to read. It just sounds so gothic and creepy. Plus it's like cold outside. It's snowing. And this doesn't give me snow vibes, but the creepy gothic vibes I really like to read when it's kind of cold and snowy outside. So I think this one would be great as well. And of course I have Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. This one, I just would love to read it during this readathon. I like having a thick book on all of my readathons to kind of challenge myself. And I feel like this is a great choice for that. I think Sarah J. Maas books, at least Throne of Glass and and ACOTAR, have been like really quick to get through, very easy reads. So I would love to be able to get this one onto the readathon. Oh, I always do this, and y'all probably know it's coming before I do, but I'm gonna save this one. I'm saving this one till the end. Like, I'm just kind of worried that I'll hit that black hole and I'll go back to the beginning and I'll already have put like, what, a 1,000-page book on here? Yeah, it's like over 800 pages. So I have to wait. It's between these two, and I feel like they'd be relatively similar in how long they take me to read. I mean, maybe one would be a little bit quicker than the other, but probably fairly close. Which one am I just feeling? I feel like I'm actually going to pick Vampires of El Norte. It just kind of sounds really good right now. The premise, actually I don't really know what the premise is, but the vibes sound really good. The vibes of this book kind of sound like what I want to read right now, so this is what I'm going to go with. I will probably read a little bit tonight, but really not very much, and then I will read the rest of it tomorrow morning, and hopefully I'll be able to finish during my first set of sprints with my Patreons and be able to jump into my 4th book of the readathon. Whew. Yeah, I'm excited to put this one on here. I hope this is a good read. I'm really looking forward to this one. So yes, the like creepy gothic vibes, and I've heard only good things about this book. I haven't heard anyone not like it. So hopefully it's really good and just kind of pulls me in and I get through it quickly. Yeah, that's what I'm going for here. I'm also kind of tired, so I'm not talking very clearly, but I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, it is now just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a little bit later than I was hoping in all reality, but I have finished The Vampires of El Norte. I thought the writing style was beautiful. I really liked the male main character in this. I felt like he brought a lot of emotion, and I just really felt his emotions every time I was reading from his perspective. I did not like the female main character that much. I liked her at times. I liked the younger version of her a lot, but I just kind of feel like I didn't love who she was at the time of this story necessarily. Like, she was just okay, but I really love the male main character. So I feel like the kind of contrast between them made me like her less, maybe a bit. And I kind of felt like when we were reading from her perspective, it was either her or the author, I don't know which, were kind of like trying to gaslight us into thinking that this guy was just chronically abandoning people. And I was like, this is not true. Like, how about we take some responsibility here and not pretend like this is him? Like, I really liked him as a character. And I know that he wasn't like a perfect person, but in general, he made quite good decisions when it like came to her. And we can't, when he was 13 years old, I feel like that one is a very strong pass because of what he legitimately believed in his head. So anyways, I thought this was pretty good. It had a lot of like commentary on things that were happening at that time. It had some aspects of the like war between the United States and Mexico, different political situations that people were in for like local leaders versus the government of the country and people's feelings about that, and how the hostilities at that time were being handled. And yeah, I did enjoy this book a lot, but I had higher expectations for it. It wasn't necessarily what I was expecting, and that's partially my fault. Like, going into it, I was expecting different atmosphere than I got, but it was still good. I still enjoyed it. It was a fun read, and I really love the male main character. Like, I think he was definitely the best part of this book. So, okay, that is the third book. We are now going to move on to the next role in the game. I'm a little bit nervous. I was actually chatting with my patrons during the last sprints, and we were talking about the fact that I have hit the first wormhole a lot of times. I think it was like 4 or 5 games in a row I hit it every time, right? But I don't know how many times I have hit that second wormhole. I can remember one in like the whole time I've been playing this game, which is crazy, which makes me want to go back and rewatch the games to kind of count how many times I've actually hit it. I also kind of want to see like what numbers I roll the most, because I was just thinking, I don't think I roll 2s all that often in this game either, which is a little nerve-wracking because I would need a 2 to hit that second wormhole. So fingers crossed I didn't just jinx myself. Okay, so anything but a 2, but really I would prefer it to be something bigger than a 2, so we're actually past that second black hole, but I will be happy with anything, really, as long as it's not a 2. A 3! Woohoo! Barely passed. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Okay, this is good. This is a good one. I am happy with this. Good job, little doom slug. Okay, so we got a moon, but the most important thing is we are past the second black hole. We're barely past the second black hole, so we could technically still have 4 more books of this readathon, but we will not be going back to the beginning, which is the most important thing to remember. Okay, moon prompt. I honestly don't even mind if we get a book over 400 pages necessarily. I could be okay with that. Hardcover's fine, free pick's fine. Husband pick, he's not here right now, but I could text him. I think overall I've got some good choices on here. I almost forgot to push record. That would have been bad if I'd spun the wheel and not recorded the whole thing. Okay, let's see what we get. Yes, okay. A book over 400 pages. The recording has a text message coming in, so there's a possibility I will like have cropped out the top of it, but it's there. We can see it. Ugh. I should have used that as an excuse to respin, because I mean, really, over 400 pages, really, it's fine. You know what? That's fine. I'm past the black hole. We're going to be fine with it. I'm going to go grab option. Actually, no, I'm not. I have my options here. I'm just going to be realistic with myself, and it's between these 2. And let's, again, be honest with myself, and it is this one. This is the book I'm going to choose because I feel like it's going to be significantly faster than Crescent City. I have a lot better chance of finishing this one, and then if I do need more books, then like more than just one left for the end, I'll have more time if this is the one I read. So we're going with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm really excited to jump into this one. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I've heard such great things about it, and since it is a YA fantasy romance, it's going to be a fast read. I am manifesting that. So yeah, Powerless is my 4th book of the readathon. Let's do it. Okay, it is now, where is my phone? It is now about 1:30 in the morning, which is much later than I was anticipating for this one. I was hoping to have it done by midnight, and it just did not happen. We're at 1:30, but I have finished Powerless. So I quite enjoyed this book, actually. I felt like it was very entertaining. It was engaging. I was invested in the story. It was very fast-paced. I do have a couple of complaints. Like, there's trials in this book, and like in the trials, a lot of the time, like, nothing's happening. Like, besides the last one, I feel like that was more happening, but a lot of it was just like the relationship, particularly the first one, I'll say. It was almost like we're just kind of hanging out with them, and it wasn't really like a trial almost. I don't know. It felt very odd. The trials also, if anyone else has this thought after reading it, like, I feel like each of the trials feels very, very, very similar to a like trial or competition in a different book. So anyone else feels this, let me know. But the first one felt like the Hunger Games. The second one felt like the Blood Trials, and the third one felt like Harry Potter. Like, I'm sorry, like, does anyone else feel this? Is this just me? Like, these are very, very similar to that. So I don't know. It felt just a little bit too much like that, in my opinion. Like, it was very, very weird to be reading about it. I do quite enjoy competitions though, so I did like it, but it really felt strongly like that. Overall, though, I did really like it. I do feel it could have been shorter. There was a lot of time dedicated to the relationship in this, and it was very repetitive in the things that were happening in this relationship, if that makes sense. So it almost got a little boring after a while, in my opinion. I was just like, oh, no, what's really happening? Like, I'm all for a slow burn. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel like it seemed to repeat a lot. But I did still enjoy it. I think that the intrigue of it was good. Like, I was invested. I was interested to see where it was going to go, what was going to happen. Like, I really did enjoy that aspect of it. I thought characters were interesting. The banter was fun. And overall, this was a good read. I had a good time with this. And I didn't even feel like tired while I was reading this book. So it definitely did probably what I was intending to do, right? Because I was invested the whole time. So yeah, finished the 4th book of this readathon. So now we're going to go ahead and roll again. We are fairly close to the end, so this could potentially be our last roll. Let's see if the board's nice to me. Okay, here we go with what could potentially be the final roll of the game. Maybe, if it's nice to me. Of course, now we get a 6. I feel like this has happened on the last roll a couple times. But regardless, we are now at the end, which means it's a free pick. I can choose whatever I want, and this is the final book. Okay, so we have made it to the final spot, which I'm very happy about. This means I have a free pick. So I have several options on this one. First, I have Bookshops and Bone Dust. This is from my friend Abby. This was a present for Christmas this year. I feel like this year I want to be better about reading books that were gifted to me sooner rather than later. So I'd like to at least like read them within the calendar year that they were gifted, right? And so this would be one I could read. This one is shorter though, so I'm like, ooh, should I save it for like a different readathon? I don't know. I do want to read it though. I'm excited about that one. It's cozy. It'd be nice. I also grabbed Masters of Death by Olive E. Blake. This is a book that I just grabbed from the bookstore when we walked there when I was living in a different town for my clinicals, and this was one of the ones that I picked for my birthday. So I love Olive E. Blake. I love her writing. I've loved pretty much everything that I've read from her, so I definitely want to read this one. I also have Dragonfall, which is another one that I received as a gift for my birthday. This is fairly short, and I don't know, I'm just really excited about this book. It feels like it'll be a book that I really like, plus it should be a fairly quick read. I also grabbed Disorientation, which is another book that I was gifted. This one is a contemporary book. It's like a literary fiction contemporary, which tend to be really fast reads for me. And so this is another one that's high up on the list of possibilities. And then, of course, I have Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. This would be like my challenge book. If I really want to push myself, challenge myself, this book is thick. It's like 800 pages. I'm pretty sure that the audiobook is like around 30 hours long, something like that. One of my Patreons told me that when I was saying this could be a potential for my final book. So I was like, oh, that sounds like it would definitely be challenging. So this is a possibility as well. So I have a pretty big stack for my final choice. I'm excited about all of these books though, is kind of the thing. And I do feel like it's very open and up to me because I feel very confident that I am going to finish my TBR for the month. I only have one buddy read left that I need to read for the month. So it's almost like too broad of a choice. Usually you have a little bit more constraints to work within. I do think though that I'm gonna save this one. I would love to choose this one because honestly, cozy fantasy just sounds amazing right now. But I think I'm gonna save it maybe for another readathon, maybe just if I'm feeling really in the mood for it. Yeah, I don't know. Like I want to read this one, but I think I'm gonna wait on it. I think kind of similar for this one. I don't know. It's not calling to me quite as strong as some of the other books. I think I'm gonna wait on this one as well. I am very intrigued by it, but I don't know. I'm not super in the mood for just like a literary fiction right now that's digging deep into like societal issues and things like that. I don't think my brain is quite up to that right now. It's 1:30 in the morning and I haven't got that much sleep the last little bit, so we are down to these two. And really, I think the decision's gonna come down to, do I wanna challenge myself or do I want to give myself a leisurely reading time to the finish line of this readathon? I think I'm actually gonna go with this one. I know this is an unusual choice for me, actually. I usually will go with the more challenging book and really push myself at the end of these readathons, but I think I'm going to be nice to myself. I think I'm going to pick a book that I feel very confident that I'm going to finish, one that I think is just going to be an enjoyable read to lose myself in, and I'm going to go with Masters of Death. I think this is a good choice for me. I think it'll make tomorrow more pleasant, and then I can kind of maybe take my time a little bit more with Crescent City. I definitely will probably start reading it tomorrow, though, after I finish this one. So, yeah. Masters of Death is the final one. Plus, I think this is another kind of magical competition, which I've been quite enjoying. So yeah, here we go. Final book of the readathon. I'm feeling good about my odds of finishing. I shouldn't get too cocky though, because that could come back to bite me. Okay, I don't remember the last time I cut it this close, and I really planned my time well so that I'd be done like an hour early, but it is seriously like 5 minutes to 6, which is 5 minutes before the end of the readathon, and I have finished my final book, Masters of Death. Yes, I could have finished it earlier, but I was kind of intentionally trying to finish it with like 1 hour left of the readathon, and apparently somehow my math was not mathing. So I actually loved this book. I think Olive E. Blake is just a writer that I really enjoy the way that she tells her stories, her writing style. I liked the humor in this overall. Some points are a little bit over the top, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. I liked the complexity kind of what was going on. I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed this book. I think that Olivia Blake is just an author for me. I love The Atlas Six. I loved Alone with You in the Ether. I've loved Masters of Death. So honestly, I think if she writes it, I am going to love it. I have just decided. It's kind of like Ava Reed. Olivia Blake is also like an auto love author for me. This was a really, really good book. I looked up the ratings on Goodreads and I think it's at about a 3.8, which I'm not super surprised about because I can see this book being a little bit more polarizing. The writing style, the way of telling the story, the humor, I could see that not being for everyone, for sure. So I definitely understand why this book is kind of hit or miss for people, but I absolutely loved it. I thought this was so good. And this was a great end to the readathon. I'm kind of started off a little bit on the books I was reading, but ended really strong. It was kind of a uphill climb for me with the books that I chose. So glad I chose to end on this one. And here is my stack of books for the readathon. Plus, I did also have Glint. So I read Glint for a book over 400 pages, Masters of Death for the final pick, free pick, Powerless for another book over 400 pages, the fine print for, what was it? Oh, it was the Black Hole Spinner Wheel, and then Vampires of El Norte for I think it was another free pick. I think it was a Sun free pick, if I remember right. So this is actually a pretty good stack. I kind of want to do the math on the number of pages I read. I'll put the math here so you can see it, but I feel like this was a good number of books. And like I said, I kind of feel like they got progressively better as the readathon went on. So I feel like this was my least favorite, and then this one and Glint were kind of on the same level. Then Powerless was probably my second, and then this was my favorite of the readathon. So I just got better as it went on, which is kind of a good way to go because as I'm getting a little bit more tired, I'm reading more, this will like keep me invested, right? Getting books that I'm excited about. I'm really happy with the number of books I was able to read. And I mean, there's 5 of them and they were all solid length books. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to Crescent City, but that's okay because now I'll be able to start it tonight. Give it a little bit more time and attention because I hear that you want to really know what's going on going into the third one with all the connections, so that's fine with me. But overall, this was a success of a weekend. My patrons and I had some great sprints, and it was just overall really fun. This was a good way to start off January. It's making me feel really confident about my reading for this year, and yeah, this was just great. I had a really good time. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.